Hi, I am Alex Damon, and today I have been commissioned by BFI to provide to you material for their new expedition on the history of editing from its innovation to its present day. Let's hop into the time machine and fly back to 1885, where it all began. Lumiere Brothers. Brothers are there for each other through thick and through, and that just went to show in 1885 where the Lumiere Brothers invented the cinematograph, a device which is able to capture and project moving images. At this moment in time, there was no real editing, just recordings as well as static shots, which were put to good use by the two brothers. By having the limitation of just recordings, it produced the first private screening regarding a projected motion picture, taking place here in the capital of France, Paris. This was taken in an ordinary cafe. Recording saw men leaving the factory and the train pulling into a station, just enough to satisfy a room-side audience for the first time in history. Fact: this was the first film to be shown onto a projected wall. George Méliès. One lucky viewer who benefited from watching the first screening was George Méliès, who got inspired to create over 500 films and to pick up the title of the first editor in film. Films had the duration time of 1 to 40 minutes. Nicknames for George were now coming out faster than you could ever say cutting his editing. By now he was labelled as the professional magician due to the fact magic shows were the theme of the first edited films to be shown, for example in the one-man band. He demonstrated editing techniques like jump cuts to create illusions. Special effects and introducing cutting was then added to George Méliès' cauldron of editing techniques to bring out history-making films like Voyage des la Lune, A Trip to the Moon. His philosophy contained detailed scenes. He would be able to go to an angle and stick with it all throughout as he shoots footage, never once moved the camera. Fact: was the first sci-fi film and a really popular film in early cinema and was made with a splatter spectacle. This is A Man on the Moon. Edwin S. Porter enhanced the stories and made his own little story in the history books by adding in a chapter about him using parallel editing to show two scenes. As you look into this chapter, you will discover these two scenes would be shown in two different geographical locations whilst going on at the same time. Tension would be created by this, as well as providing to the audience a voyeuristic point of view, enabling them to see both scenes. Flick over to chapter 4 and 6 to take a peek of film examples of where this work was produced. Film examples where this is applied were The Great Train Robbery and Life of an American Fireman. Within these films, he was able to cut between two clips for the benefit of being able to have two parts happen at all the same time. Surprise! Shock! Edwin S. Porter didn't use the technique to its full potential. What a shocker! Ladies and gentlemen, we have a copycat right here. Okay, it is George Albert Smith. We let you off, but you made A Kiss in the Tunnel. There would be shots of a train entering and exiting the tunnel. This film would provide a geographical location feel through editing. Okay, we can now establish why George is similar to Edwin and why he is labelled as the copycat. Tut now, sir. Editing may be basic from George, but he would be able to create a believable space between characters or objects not sharing the same shot. D.W. Griffith. Stand by and take a look at modern day techniques editor D.W. Griffith. Like George Méliès, he had a whole range of mixtures and potions of techniques ready to bubble up, but on a much bigger scale. Mixtures include close-ups used to emphasize emotion, for example where eyes look at certain parts of a scene and ignore the other parts which are going on. Dissolves were to portray the passage of time. All these editing techniques and others were used to produce the film The Klansman, renamed Birth of a Nation. Birth of a Nation brought many flames to the cauldron, such as pioneering editing techniques and good storytelling, but was overshadowed of being racist and talking about the Ku Klux Klan as heroes of the South. Someone would get a fire extinguisher to put that nasty flame out. With Flames back to Safety Flame, the next film was called Tolerance and was about a plea for tolerance. Featured 4 different stories in different centuries and locations. These all tie together with tolerance. But why? When thinking about time and space within this film, Griffith used time to speed up, slow down, compress time, stretch time, provide flashbacks, and provide flash forwards to fit a specific running time to control time within the narrative. But where space is concerned, he would create a believable space between characters or objects not sharing the same shot. Other points to make from a history-making recipe of a film, it would have a pinch of cutting between that have no relation between other stories. He also made shots discreet for having a role in sections of scenes. A cauldron is always dangerous, with fire and everything in between, but this mixture of tolerance was certainly lively to watch as a viewer. Russian cinema. Now we pay a visit to Russia to discover the art of film making in 1917. This is not geography, folks. Here is the land where new techniques began to be practiced for the benefit of filmmaking. Film stock was tricky to find in Russia at this time period, after the revolution in Russia. With limitations on film stock and limitations of what they could find, meant that not very long films were shot, cutting together different parts. This was for the benefit of making a general meaning. Russian montage editing. School time. No, not just school, film school in downtown Moscow in the 20s and 30s. This was when the technique was taught. Love Kuleshov. Star of the school would be Kuleshov, as thanks to him he discovered the Kuleshov effect during his time of mucking about with the editing to convey different meanings. See everyone, mucking about in school does pay off. As follows on the whiteboard would state the Kuleshov effect. It would be in big marker pen writing, stating, first, you cut among shot A and shot B, resulting in you having a much greater meaning. Next part of the method is the sequence of shots need to become bolstered up to add more meaning to them. For instance, with only one shot of an expressionless man intercut with a bowl of soup makes the audience think he is hungry. But if the principal is cutting the same shot of the expressionless man and providing a coffin, that will trigger the audience to think he is sad. Now, if you followed instructions carefully, your film would be able to have great effect meaning for the benefit of communist propaganda film. Just like Sergei Eisenstein's Battleship Potemkin in 1925. Eisenstein. In comes Eisenstein. No, not Frankenstein. It is not Halloween. But he had the idea that the connection between otherwise unrelated footage would be able to lead greater emotion and ideas. Close enough to Halloween. It was certainly a treat rather than a trick, as it was good to use for communist propaganda. The treats kept on coming as he made an enforced montage which resulted in film developing more powerful meaning. But he had a little trick up his sleeves as he took advantage of the work from Griffith and Kuleshov. What a pumpkin! La Nouvelle and Vogue, the new French wave. We haven't heard much about rule breakers in editing, have we? Nouvelle and Vogue were just that. Number 1, breaking rule, making jump cuts. Number 2, breaking rule, broke the 180 degrees rule. On the plus side, they created fresh new editing styles. That is a relief for us all. Developments in editing technology. Mavola. From pioneers to editing technology, but staying in the same time region as the artistic development, we have the life of the Mavola. Straight to the point, it was the first editing machine, so it was easy to edit. As well as this, it was more standardized. Simple. Sounds Spanish spelling for movie, but it was Ewan Surya who created it in 1924. Not the Spanish. Ewan Surya was from Holland. A bit more information for you to edit. It is a vertical machine enabling editors to go to a film and play it, which would be displayed on a small screen, and decisions on cutting would go on whilst the film is playing. Not information, but facts. Here it goes. They were popular within their day, 1924, as well as being used in World War II for journalists to cut together newsreels. At this time period, sound was new. But were there any films made by the Mavola? The answer is yes. The Jazz Singer. Was there any negative from the Mavola? Once again, the answer is yes. As follows. It is a very loud machine and it has limitations on functionality. What I mean by that, it can cut and paste clips in any order. Linear editing is the part you edit videos. When you edit, it can involve selecting or even arranging footage and sound in a sequence which is in order. This is all done in the post-production stage. Steam battered flatbed. If there was ever a replacement, it would be the flatbed because of its limits on functionality. Explain more, and yes, I sure will, as follows. With film, this editing technology is able to go within the company's soundtrack. More? Okay. It may be possible to be laid on or even edited individually. How does it work? You wonder. I wonder too. The way in which it works is screened on a small size screen. Footage of film is played, which enabled editors to play back the footage forwards and backwards. Editors were free to do this at any given speed. Even I did this when telling you this information. Finished yet? Not yet. I am making a very precise edit, just what he did with the steam back flatbed editor. Moving on swiftly in downtown America, normal method of Hollywood editing labelled as woman's work stepped onto the scene. It included similar work to knitting or sewing. Fact. Both of these were named as a mechanical process rather than an art. Benefits would come out from this as it would be able to develop a range of rigid rules which were restricted to editing, such as cutting on moves. Let me tell you into a little story relating to this. Make sure you take a proper close-up. The story begins with wide shots, just before develop up to close-ups, slowly. This would be done so that it wouldn't have to cut straight to them. The rules were described as firm. End the story. I will let you into a secret now. Turn over to the extra column of the book. I will explain about the rules further. Or I'll just say them now in front of you. The rigidity of these rules of Hollywood films around the world led to a backlash, oh no, in the form of movements such as the new French wave. There have been a backlash, but it was all good when it realised it released the film Breathless. Let me just sum this whole Breathless palaver up, so you don't lose breath. The film saw many Hollywood editing techniques broke. Oh no! Broken rules include making jump cuts, and no, they didn't jump on a trampoline. Back to earth. They broke continuity and changing location at a quick pace. Video editing. Whenever will editing be on computers? Oh yes, we are now in the time where digital editing became around and involved. Finally, we got there. Thank goodness to the magnetic tape and the created Ampex for bringing out in 1956 and still in use today. Count yourself lucky, it just saved me from taping myself to this video. Was it the first? No, it wasn't. It was the Avid one in 1989. This was where the real digital editing in filmmaking began. Now we're talking. Now for the benefits. As it labelled as the non-linear editor, meant editors would be able to cut any section in a film. May happen at Christmas or maybe just at any given time. Freedom was key here. Freedom a key, how come? Because they were able to change the length from the clip more efficiently and not having to go and make final to fine cuts. Now let's skip to the good bit. What I mean by good bit is digital film was starting to become popularised. Now I feel a monster beginning to rise. Don't need to fear it. Saw the birth of a range of non-linear editing software. The monster had a boy called Adobe Premiere and the latest edition of Final Cut Pro 10.12. Along the way, there has been plenty more footage to edit with these different ranges of editing softwares. The story is nearly over, but wait, you guys have no idea what the benefits there are of digital editing. Oh no! And the definition of editing. Oh no! You may as well cut me out about that. Before you put me in another sequence, I shall quickly explain. Remember, I can take my time. So here's the benefits of digital editing. The digital couldn't deteriorate, unlike analog devices, example a record player. And the advanced software today allows for you to more precisely cut and trim each shot to ensure the desired effect is more effectively conveyed. There is also some more storage room for loads of text as well as multiple softwares to be put on too. And the definition, putting together clips and making them into a clear and engaging narrative, and visually engaging narrative too. A lot of information for you to edit in your head, but make sure you cut out the unrelated footage. Thanks for watching.